Hey, what's going on, y'all? In this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how exactly my marketing agency is capable of creating winning ads that are yielding over $50,000 in return on ad spend for my clients that work with us on our consulting side of things. Now, I'm going to be going through a lot of theory today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the updates that Meta has to offer as well, so let's go ahead and get into it. So if you've seen any of my previous videos or a lot of my historical teachings on how we typically do business when it comes to Ads Manager, this is a very straightforward structure to follow. I often call it the Frankenstein method, where you record several different hooks and mash them up with a few different body concepts. So in this example, let's say you have 5 different hooks you're going to run and then 3 different body concepts. You can make 15 different combination of creatives from that. And that's usually a really quick way to creative test, figure out what hook is actually going to win, and then the variable that will typically stay the same is going to be the placement or the visual on screen, and then the only thing that's changing is your wording. Conversely, you could have consistent wording and then change the background, or maybe you're doing something in it. Oftentimes, if you're like opening a water bottle or, I don't know, shoveling dirt or something, what I'm getting at is doing some sort of action will often be really engaging. So this is historically what people will tell you to do, although I'm going to touch a little bit on how Meta is working nowadays. Essentially, we've lost a lot of our autonomy, and so we really have to stay up to date with changing times. And as far as the ad itself, I typically recommend recording yourself using an AI actor or some sort of UGC creator. Honestly, an AI actor is a bit of a hit or miss. I will say, though, lately I've been seeing some insane ones come out, or if you guys are scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, you'll probably see every once in a while it's like, it's usually an ad for an AI-generated video company, and it's like, you won't even believe that I'm actually an AI, and it's like some attractive female. Those have been really killing it lately, so I will say we are on the cusp of AI agents being just as good as hiring an actual actor or doing it yourself. However, if you're building a personal brand, always, always, always go with authenticity. Record yourself. If you have the guts to put yourself out there, it's going to set you apart from the next guy that isn't confident enough to actually put himself out there. And trust me, I deal with clients all the time where I get them out of their shell and I actually get them to put their face out there. And it's usually awkward at first, but the most important part is them finding their voice and finding a little bit of confidence in it, and then that will always sell better than doing a still frame ad or relying on an actor that doesn't even really know about the brand and they're just kind of bullshitting for the sake of reading off a script, and you pay them like what, $10 to do so. As far as the UGC ad itself, usually between 30 seconds to a minute, although what I started doing recently with like some of my in-depth ads, I'll do them like a minute 30, and I'll explain what I mean by in-depth now, but usually hook, pain point, offer, some sort of case study, CTA. I will say, though, with some of them that are going to be more brand awareness oriented, you don't even necessarily have to throw in an offer. There's different tiers or different sections to how you want to be creating an ecosystem for ads. Some need to be brand awareness, some need to be harping on pain points, some need to be fastball pitches, like call to actions on your offer. And if you have a good ecosystem of all of these, Meta is actually smart enough now, believe it or not, to where it can understand and properly organize which ad needs to be shown where. So before I get on to this next section, I just want to have the screen on this while I'm discussing this, though. So nowadays, Meta is taking a lot of our autonomy away, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're a rookie and you don't really know what you're doing. You're fine. For me, as a media buyer, it's a little bit frustrating that I don't get to be as hands-on with the manual placements as we used to, or the manual targeting as we used to. And it's funny, from like a capitalistic standpoint, the reason Meta is doing this is because, if you can imagine, users like me, marketers like me, businesses are spending billions and billions of dollars on Meta Ads Manager. And so Meta doesn't even have to pay for its own algorithm to learn, because we're putting up money for it to self-learn. So now if you can think about it in the grand scheme of things, this is a $1 billion algorithm, and it's oftentimes way smarter than a rookie at running ads. So it's really just suggested, especially if you're new to the game, just go broad, do Advantage Plus, and let Meta do its thing. Now, the things that we as marketers still have control over is going to be the script itself and going to be the creative itself, and that's going to segue into this next section. Script writing is becoming everything. A big art form of what I'm doing is even part of my own service delivery for my clients now is making sure that we have some good scripts and also have some diversity in there. Even if you've seen some of my past videos how I discussed doing different ad sets for different segmentation for the sake of testing, I'm now recommending you guys to hone in and do less ad sets and put a fuck ton of creatives in one ad set and let it rip. Something that I found that's interesting as well, going back on the fact that there's some brand awareness ads, some pain point ads, from a high level, or to kind of put things in layman's terms, top of funnel ads, middle funnel ads, bottom of funnel ads. Meta is also smart enough now to understand which ones are going to be for which intention of conversion. So if you find yourself noticing that, let's say, one ad has a really shitty conversion rate, whether that be a book a call rate or the amount of leads it's yielding seems low, but Meta's continuing to spend on it, normally as marketers would be like, okay, well, this is unfavorable for us, let's kill it. But if we're doing the strategy where it's one ad set and a bunch of creatives in there, what Meta could be doing is utilizing it for a top of funnel ad or a brand awareness ad. That one's not meant to convert, but it's still important in the formula of things. And I know it can be a little frustrating, especially if you're new to spending on ads. The best advice I can tell you is you can't get emotional with it. You don't put up money that you need for rent. This needs to be extra liquidity you have for the business that you're willing to reinvest and willing to lose. Because yes, it is a little bit of a gamble, but if you know what you're doing, and especially once you get some education around running ads, like for me, for instance, I never care about spending money on ads anymore just because I know at the very least I'm going to learn something, but best case scenario, I'm going to get a return on ad spend, right? Especially if you're in the AI realm of things, it's the gold rush right now. You can hit crazy return on ad spend multipliers. So going back to what I'm doing now, as far as my media buyer on my team is concerned, he's really just running the ads and checking the analytics, but the heavy hitting part of what I'm bringing to the table is doing script writing, helping my clients set up their actual creatives themselves. We'll also do some still frames alongside there. But the best thing you can do, one ad set, put a bunch of ads in there and let Meta take the reins and build out its own top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel and help it convert. From there, the best thing you can do is just monitor your cost to acquire client, your CAC, and make sure that you're actually profitable. And if you are, you're in the green, cool. And you also have to remember, I know people often talk about crazy return on ad spends. And if you've seen any of my content before, I've even been subject to receiving 18x, 20x return on ad spends for my own offer, for some of my clients' offers. But if you can imagine this in investing terms, guys, even if you hit a 2x return on ad spend, you're fucking profitable. So don't get discouraged just yet. So ad scripting is going to be very important, and I'll show you guys a little bit into how I go about ad scripting, especially for if you're a newbie. This will be valuable. Before we get into that, this is kind of a little more on testing the scripts in bulks themselves. I'll show you what AI prompt means in a minute. We leverage AI to do a lot of our script writing, which is awesome. But this is the idea. You get a whole bunch together. I literally just got done recording a batch of 10 ads that I'm going to launch to the moon. I'm putting $125 a day on them, and I'm just going to let it Meta take the reins, put it all in broad. I'll do a little bit of targeting, age demographic, and I'll also do a little bit of manual on the placements themselves. But ultimately what I'm getting at is, believe it or not, we're going to let Meta decide from now on, just because this billion-dollar algorithm is just slowly starting to beat out media buyers and people that used to charge high ticket. And quickly sidetrack for a second also, because this is kind of an interesting point of discussion. As marketing agencies, as people that run social media marketing agencies, SMMAs, we used to be able to charge high ticket for merely running ads and merely building out a funnel. And Mangazi, for instance, built his entire empire initially off of that, right? Before he switched to info, of course, where he made a bunch of money. But anyways, nowadays, because it's becoming dumb simple to launch a creative, I don't even run media buying anymore because it's so straightforward to actually do the art of launching and publishing an ad campaign and analyzing analytics. The heavy hitting part and how you can still charge high ticket in the ad space is if you're assisting in the script writing, setting up the creatives, editing still frames, little things like that. But ultimately, what's really going to set you apart is if you have, more to offer. For instance, I'm not just doing media buying, I'm also doing funnel building. I have an award-winning funnel builder on my team. And then with that traffic that we're generating and pushing through our funnel and data collecting, we're now integrating our AI appointment center on all messaging channels to reach out to the lead on SMS, email, Instagram, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And we're pushing all that traffic onto sales calls. So I'm really setting myself up ahead of the curve because I'm doing a bunch of stuff that is not as simple as just hiring a guy overseas to do. There's definitely consulting side to what I'm doing here is what I always tell my clients when I'm on a sales call. It's look, if you just want someone to run your ads mindlessly or set up an AI automation mindlessly, go for it. But what we're acting to do is be hands-on and as consultants actually solve their entire lead generation issue. And it takes a lot of work, and that's why we're still able to charge high ticket. And business owners that I work with are often content with paying these prices because they can see the direct ROI impact that I'm providing because it's directly related to sales. And we typically target in high ticket niches so we can get them return on ad spend. We get paid, they get paid, everyone's happy, right? Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you guys can actually go about script writing properly, especially if you don't know what you're doing. I recommend going over to ChatGPT. If you got a pay plan, you can go to Explore and tap into some of those custom GPTs that they already have. and what you can do. So I recommend finding this Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads. So within this Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads and offers, what someone did is literally compiled both of his books and built a brain for it. So it's already pre-vetted. It's already a knowledge base in it. So the more detailed you get with what you bring to it, of course, the smarter it's going to be and the more detailed it's going to be towards your offer and your brand, or if you're doing this for a client, whatever your client's trying to sell. So I've just thrown in some very general stuff about like run an AI automation company, and then let's say build me 5 winning ad copy scripts that are 30 sec to 1 min long, make each unique. Bang. So do that and it'll spit something out. I don't necessarily recommend just taking this as a source of truth and then running with it, in the sense that look it over. This is AI after all. Sometimes it doesn't talk about slang properly or it just sounds weird. So we of course want to make sure that what it's actually going to say aligns with the brand at hand, especially if you're doing this for a client. You don't want to just copy this and then be like, bro, did you just shit this out? So I usually add a little bit of my own touch to it. If I'm personally recording this though, sometimes what I'll do is I'll like look at it and I just use it kind of as guidance, because usually when I'm actually recording a script itself, it's just so much more natural for me personally to just talk off the dome. So I'll usually have like a summary of something I'm going to follow, but when I actually go into thick of it, I never follow anything verbatim. Especially if you're new to recording and you're still trying to find your voice, you'll find that if you do follow a script like that, like you're gonna burn out so fast. And this is coming from the guy, if you look at some of my OG Instagram reels that I have, I used to just like read verbatim off of a script, and it was very robotic, and you can tell I look very stiff and awkward. Now, for instance, like I'm literally like I just whipped up that Canva board for you guys, and I was like, all right, no script, and I've just been talking to you guys ever since, just knowledge dumping what I know, and that's really gonna make for the most authenticity. All right, cool. We finally got it to spit out some things, so check it out. Took a second, but hey, so one for hot audience. You already know me. Here's the fastest win. So, take this with a grain of salt as far as the copy, but really this is going to give you at least some solid points to follow. Again, this is based off Hormozi, so he's the GOAT at marketing. He's an authority I would listen to if there would be anyone out there. I don't know if anyone out there got his 6K course, but he drops like a lot of sauce on hooks and how to make proper ads on that, which is fucking awesome and directly applicable to what we're doing here as marketers. Anyways, all this to say, this is like a really strong thing you can follow from a script perspective to help accelerate your copywriting and kind of help build that muscle and the mindset you have to think about when you're creating these ads, either for yourself or your clients. Again, as media buyers, with where we're at in the game right now, this is the most autonomy we can have. Because what the AI does, what Meta's AI algorithm does, is they pull the transcript of your video, and they also will scan the video itself for any text on screen, and then the last thing they'll do, of course, in the description or in the headline, they'll take that text as well, and that's enough information for them to understand where they need to target to, believe it or not. And that's why I'm saying by being very hands-on with the script and the copy below, that's going to put you in the best position. And then watch this. I'll be like, now create me one text copy to apply to all 5 of these ads below the video itself. Oh, misspelled itself. But I recommend just doing one copy, because if you try to do different copies with all these different ads, you have so many variables all of a sudden. So usually across the board, I'll do the same one copy. So really the only changing variable is the creative itself. Once I've identified some few good creatives, then we can transition to instead messing around with the copy. Something like this, bada bing, bada boom. Of course, you can edit it a little if you want to. But that's really the idea behind how you can effectively copyright. Okay, and then last most important thing to touch on as far as creating this whole ecosystem. Cool, you got the script, you got your game plan for hooks, body concept, blah, 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 all of that. For the recording process itself, obviously I always want my clients to actually put their face out there. But another smart thing that a lot of people are doing nowadays is getting an attractive female to record it for them. Across the board, pretty much, an attractive female is going to get you a better click-through rate, especially in B2B. In most business industries, unless it's like female specific, most business industries are male dominated. And so having an attractive female on screen is usually going to suddenly control our TikTok brains and get us to stop and then hear the pitch, all that good stuff. So I wanted to run through a few examples of kind of that in action. So over on Facebook Library, if you don't know, this is the goldmine place to go to pocket watch your competitors. I never suggest just, trying to figure out an ad without understanding what your competition is doing, because especially if someone has been running tens of thousands of dollars onto an ad campaign, they're clearly profitable on it. For them to continue it that long, in which case that's a bull flag signal you're headed in the right direction. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to hear the actual video itself, but I'm just going to click on them and kind of show you.
Hi there, I'm from Latin America, and you could hire a remote worker like me for just $6 to $10 an hour.
And I don't even know if this is AI, to be honest. It very well may be. This is for one of my clients we were doing some market research for. They do like a talent placement agency for VAs.
You're paying a U.S. employee $60,000 to do work that a remote Latin American employee would do for $15,000. We will guarantee to hire you a perfect...
You get where I'm going with this. So this is some example of like an attractive female version of things. And then here's another one that I'll show you some dude. But what I'm getting is the UGC side of this. If you have the guts to put your face out there and the ad itself doesn't seem like an ad, it seems like content. That's why you say UGC. If it seems like they're scrolling, and they don't even notice the little sponsor thing in the corner, that's what's going to put you in the best position for an engaging ad, right? Anyways, you get it, right? I'll show you a couple more.
Q4 is almost here. We simply don't have time to go through your lengthy hiring process. You don't need just good marketing tactics.
Notice on all these, by the way, guys, they don't have some fancy camera set up, literally holding their phone. And I'm mainly talking to you kids at home now that are trying to start something. Maybe you don't have too much of a budget and you're like, oh, I can't start ads. I can't start like marketing until I get like this $1,000 camera, until I get this nice mic. You can start today. Especially when it comes to creative testing, you don't want to get planning paralysis with it, because some of these creatives that you're creating anyway with the fancy camera may be losers, and it's not because of the camera quality or because of the mic quality, but it's because the visual is messed up, or it's just like not encapsulating, the copy isn't good, your offer isn't good, right? So, I'd almost rather you to do some recording on your phone first, and sure, afterwards, if you really want to get cinematic with it, knock yourself out. But I just want to show here that content that seems like just casual when you're scrolling on Reels is going to do the best across the board.
I don't understand why companies are still...
Anyways, you get it. So this is why we usually require our clients to do this. So we'll usually do a mixed bag of still frames. Like I think for this person, see, they're running some still frames too, yeah? So having a mixed bag of both is fine. But notice, if I scroll through, they have a fuck ton of ads, and I'm willing to bet most of these are in the same couple ad sets. Maybe they have one or two ad sets for some interest specific stuff, but across the board, a lot of the competitors that I've been seeing nowadays are just opting to do the all-in-one ad set strategy, and then Meta decides for itself with its new smart algorithm. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a name for it now, right? And they'll be able to differentiate the top, middle, and bottom funnel strategy for that. But guys, that's all from me. I hope you found this video valuable. This is literally the framework on how we are currently building profitable creatives for myself and for my clients. If you have any questions, I'll leave my booking link down below. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram with any questions you have. I'm happy to answer them. We don't gatekeep on this page, as you know. I'll see you on the next video.